Low testosterone men love having fun. Low testosterone men watch sports. Warm water is for low testosterone men. Boredom is a sign of low testosterone. Low testosterone men have loads of friends.
Have you ever seen a guy on your For You page telling you how you shouldn't be having fun? This seems to be a very common trend with these alpha male influencers, like to push this idea that as a man you should be suffering and everything should be hard and laborious and you have to wake up at like 3 a.m. This kind of like rhetoric is just everywhere.
How do you view work-life balance at this point?
Work-life balance is absolutely bullshit. I hate when people try to push it onto me.
It's like the common factor in all of these like so-called alpha male influencers. The Venn diagram meets in this point where you're not allowed to have fun if you're a man. Where it's like the only way to become successful as a man is just to like grind and suffer and like go through hell, and then like eventually like when you're in like your 40s you'll reap some abstract rewards. And not only do I not think this is true, but I actually think the opposite is true. As in, like, everything I've seen with my own eyes seems to indicate that the guys that are the most successful don't really have a grind mindset. They actually like to rest a lot and sleep a lot. I'm friends with a guy called Cryptoface, and we've known each other for quite a while, and I've worked with him, and he is a world record holder for trading and live streams. I think he made like $2 million in profit from like a live stream. His name is Cryptoface, and if you want to like know more about how like crypto markets work and how to like do short-term trading, Cryptoface is a great resource. So I'm giving a shout out to my friend here. But knowing this guy and hanging out with him, I noticed that like he kind of doesn't do anything these like alpha male influencers talk about, and yet this guy is unironically on track to become a billionaire in his lifetime. The guy wakes up whenever he wants. He's always playing video games. In fact, when we were playing World of Warcraft together, he was playing more than me. Okay? This guy doesn't take ice baths. He doesn't do any of this shit that like, you know, you're like told to do. And yet this guy almost certainly money mogs all of these guys. It seems like a lot of the guys that are the most successful really index on being restful. And I know that's like not very like emotionally compelling. Like that doesn't make for a good Instagram reel. That doesn't really appeal to how us men think, but like that's just how I've observed reality. And I think, for lack of a better term, the no fun allowed mentality, I think it's based on like this premise that the world that boomers grew up in still exists. Like the Grindset mentality would make more sense if we were in like the 20th century, but now in like the 21st century it seems like you get rewarded the most for having good ideas as opposed to just working long hours. It's like so many people are like operating their life like the world that boomers grew up in still exists today, even though now a lot of the economy is like algorithms, AI, social media, crypto, a bunch of shit that doesn't really scale with just working hard, you know? A lot of like industries today, it really rewards you for having better ideas than most people. And on a side note, I also think this is partly why looks maxing has kind of like a negative reputation in like the manosphere. It's because it's like a cheap way to get what you want. A lot of like men like the idea of you grinding in the gym for years and years and suffering and grunting and like, you know, going on like strict diets. Like that seems to like conform to like our biases that we have as men, whereas like a guy that just gets like a surgery and corrects like a facial flaw and now has women like him way more suddenly, like we kind of view that as cheaper, even though this person is getting to his goals quicker in a much more quicker and efficient way. It kind of goes against like this boomer mentality where you have to like grind for everything. I think that's kind of why looks maxing has like a poor reputation. Like this guy on screen here, like, you know, he's talking about like a bunch of crazy shit.
I wake up every single day with the taste of blood in my mouth. I am ready to completely conquer the day for every single waking second I am up. Should be so hungry that you could get 2 hours of sleep and you're still motivated to work. You could get 2 hours of sleep and you're like a hungry lion watching its prey.
You know, he thinks he's like living in like a Rocky movie. He's saying, oh, this is how you become successful and blah, blah, blah. But like, if that's true, why is he getting a fraction of the views on his YouTube channel that I'm getting? I don't do anything that this guy is talking about. Like, I wake up without an alarm. I get like 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night, work a few hours a day, and yet I'm view mugging this guy. Like, Shouldn't it be the other way around? Like, if this worldview was true, shouldn't this guy be like one of the biggest figures in the manosphere because he's getting up at like 5 a.m. and not having any warm water in his shower, like all this crazy shit? But it doesn't seem to be working for him, right? And speaking of work, I only think you have like a few hours of like quality focused work in a day, and then the rest of it's going to be kind of substandard. Like in the manosphere, there's like a real disrespect that's put on resting. Like just resting, squandering your time, just checking out and watching like some garbage. That shit is really important. It helps you think on a subconscious level. It makes you a bit more creative. You know, you'll have like some good ideas when you're alone and nobody's bothering you and you're not doing some laborious task. That's when you come up with some good shit. I made a Minecraft channel that averaged like 2 million views a video. All of that is just because I had good ideas, and none of that was really based on like working long hours or grinding anything. A lot of the economy today is just an ideas based economy. Maybe in like some other time in history, this mindset that like I'm prescribing would not work at all. Can you imagine explaining to the men in this picture what this headline means? It would take like a month to describe all the concepts that are involved. What the internet is, what social media is, what influencers are, what online corn is. And yet, despite that, this is the generation that raised boomers, the people that own most of the assets in the world today. So it's little wonder why a lot of the social instruction that we get today is just very much out of touch. Like, if I was in like the 17th century, there's not really any way to like monetize good ideas. I'd make like horseshoes or some shit where like, you know, the amount of time you work really does translate into how much money you make. In most of human history, this Grindset mentality is pretty valid. It's just not valid anymore. And you know, I think as this video ages, I think it's going to age even better in the future. The society that boomers grew up in is just becoming less and less with each passing year, especially with like the ascension of AI that we're currently seeing. That's going to separate people that have good ideas versus bad ideas even more so than we have even today. And like even this like concept of being like this hardworking guy that grinds and gets up at 5 a.m. even biologically, this is not that masculine. In fact, getting good sleep, getting good rest, and having let's just say snuggles with women are all known to increase your testosterone. So like if you like this idea of being like this manly dude, you want to get a lot of sleep. You want to like wake up whenever you want. You want to, you know, indulge yourself with a woman every now and then. Like all of this is actually gonna contribute to you having a higher T level. Torturing yourself and making yourself more stressed kind of does the opposite biologically. I know we've been like conditioned as men to like moralize suffering, but like biologically speaking, it's actually the exact opposite. The less you suffer, the more manly you become. It's very unintuitive. But anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this video, drop a like and subscribe for more.